Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. This is Andrew Phegley coming to you from the 1148 studios. This is episode number 93 of the Knightline podcast. Joining me, as always, is
Trylko. Hello, everyone. Happy holidays. Merry everything. How about those UCF nights? Were they naughty or nice, Andrew, in that Cure Bowl?
Oh, man.
Listen to you. You're the Grinch. No.
Yeah, Christmas is ruined for me. It is absolutely 100% ruined after last night.
I like the text message that you sent me after the game. Don't really even want to talk about it, to be honest with you. I need like 12 hours to absorb this. Beep. There may have been profanity. I self-censored.
There definitely was profanity in that.
UCF loses to Arkansas State 31-13, finishes the 2016 season at 6-7. Mind you, a year ago, we weren't even talking about a bowl game, and UCF was 0-12. For perspective's sake.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The entire game was ridiculous. There were just a million things that were not right about the game yesterday.
There were quite a few.
Okay, number one, let's start with this. All right, Let's start with 12 rushing yards. 12 on 30 attempts. 12 rushing yards.
You speak of this as if though you have not seen a struggle of the running game the last several weeks.
Well, no, we've obviously seen a struggle of the running game, but 12 rushing yards. I wish that Jason was here this week, our intern, because I would like someone to look that up and see when the last time in any football game anybody ran for less than 20 yards in an entire football game. I don't ever remember that happening. I really don't. That right there tells the entire story of the game. Kyle's not going to be with us this week, but I was texting with him earlier and telling him, what was so bad. I think I said, you didn't miss a thing except a total breakdown of everything we had accomplished throughout the season. Horrible. Did you see the rushing yards? 12 yards in 30 attempts. Pathetic is what I said. I said the other team only had 29. It was a shootout, and we got burned in the air bad. And then I said 3 turnovers on 2 punts, miffed, and Holman on the second play when he came in to start the fourth and did nothing good, which everybody was screaming, Holman.
I really don't get that.
You've got to be kidding me, people. Have you not? Did you not
Who are these fans booing Milton, chanting Holman?
They have no clue what they're talking about.
And then Holman comes in and does what?
Absolutely
He's playing
nothing.
Behind the same line
Absolutely
that has
nothing.
McKenzie scrambling for his life.
He would be starting if he was the player that everybody thinks that he is, but he is absolutely not.
And he's a great kid,
and he's gone.
He's played his final game, and all of that. I guess I will say I'm not surprised, really, that there's that section of the UCF fan base that always wants what's behind door number 2 when it comes to quarterback play.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. We've seen what Justin can do. Yes, he has, even Frost will admit that he has a little bit stronger of an arm than Milton does. This offense is not built for a guy like Justin Holman. It's not built for Tyler Harris. It's not built for Bo Schneider. It was not built for half of the guys. Yeah, it just wasn't. It's built for a guy like Mackenzie Milton. And if you think Mackenzie Milton is that horribly bad, then you're not seeing the big picture here. Let me pull out some things that UCF put out. Mackenzie Milton set a new UCF record for completions in a season by a freshman when he completed his 6th pass of the game. He finished with 22 completions, which gave him 194 for the season, topping Ryan Schneider's record of 177 in 2000. That tells you something. Maybe the season of 2000, I don't even, right now I don't know what the season of 2000 was like. I'll have to go back and look. But still, freshman record. Here's the other one. Milton went 22 of 39 passing in the game with his 22 completions, tying Blake Bortles' 2012 for the second most by a night in a bowl game. Second most by any night in a bowl game to Blake Bortles. And you're telling me that you would rather see Justin Holman out there play instead of Mackenzie Milton. Because Mackenzie tries to make plays happen with his feet. I understand that it ain't working. I understand that. But with the offensive line problems that we have, it's not going to work. Wait till you see if we can get an offensive line going here. And it will be a completely different thing.
I'm not Jason the intern, but I can tell you UCF went 7-4 in
Well,
2000.
there you go. That was a pretty good season.
7-4 in 2000.
That was a pretty good season.
Second best record among Division 1A independents that year, behind only Notre Dame.
There you go. And Mackenzie
Head coach Mike Kruzik, home stadium, the Florida Citrus Bowl.
And Mackenzie just did just as well, actually a little bit better than he did that year.
Are we overreacting?
No, we're not overreacting.
But are we overreacting to a few
I'm
people
pissed.
that are in meltdown mode? What got me on these message board threads after the game and over the course of Sunday is that somehow people have equated this season as being worse than the 0-12 season.
I know. I don't.
Where were they during the 0-12?
I know. I don't understand it. I don't understand a lot of things that people are saying. And honestly, I don't think these people that are saying these things know what they're... I don't understand. We're not watching the same thing, obviously. They have an expectation, I guess, maybe that some of us don't. Some of us that really know what football's about. I'm not saying everybody out there. I'm not saying everybody. I am saying there are certain people, there are certain fans of UCF that have no idea what they're watching when they're watching football. They have no idea what's behind the game. They have no idea what's going on the field.
I mean, everything
Sorry
we've been
if
talking
that's
about
you.
for, 3-4 years now with regards to linemen. And the linemen that Scott Frost inherited are not the linemen that run his style of offense. He needs time to recruit the kind of players that work for his system.
Absolutely. All of this takes time, people. We never thought that this year would even turn out the way that it has.
So Arkansas State started the season 0-4,
rolled
off an FCS team. So what changed here throughout the season were the expectations game, right? When we hit 6-4 and became bowl eligible, we then faced a tough Tulsa squad. We faced a rival game in Tampa, and then the bowl game with a depleted line. And the running game had been struggling, and the offense had been struggling for weeks. And if you look at it, we beat teams below us in the RPI and in the rankings, and we lost to everybody above us, right? We played competitively in that Houston game. It's we almost beat Temple. I think people forget it's an up and down year, a rebuilding year. What
it is?
Who had 6 wins? Really, there were a lot of people that realistically thought we were going to have 6 wins.
We didn't.
No.
I remember it was 4 and whatever. We've talked about it
4, 5
forever. I mean, since, we got the season started, we've been talking, we said it in the beginning. What are your expectations? Our expectations were pretty low. They were not at all what happened. Yes, I mean, it was really, honestly, a great turnaround season. But that also tells you, this is another thing that some people don't understand about last year, and we've tried to talk about this too. Last year was a fluke. The players quit. Period. I know it's hard for people to understand that and hard for people to want to believe that. They quit because they didn't buy into what George O'Leary was doing anymore. They quit. This is what it looks like when the team that quit last year came to play most of the games.
So I got to be credentialed for Knightline and be in the post-game press conference, and we have some thoughts from Scott Frost. I think there are several things, and folks, whether they've heard it and you've mashed them all together really nicely from a 10, 12-minute press conference, there's some very interesting things that he says about the identity of the team, in particular the offense, that he wants to see more edge and more attitude. And I thought his comments in that part were a little fiery in the postgame about the kind of team he expects to play, to have play for UCF.
Let's hear that, and then we'll talk. We'll address the people that think that Scott Frost is on the hot seat.
Opening statement, I congratulate Arkansas State. They made a turnaround midseason and have been a different team since then. I'm proud of our team and our guys. Nobody hates losing more than me, except maybe Rucker. But what this team has accomplished, I'm proud of them, happy for them, and I'm hungry to accomplish more. I had a simple message for our team. I thank the seniors. Everything we say about our seniors, we mean from the bottom of our heart. These guys could have gone a lot of different directions. Guys like Ruck, they had 1 year left. They didn't have to sacrifice and put in the effort and be leaders for our team and totally take a new direction and a new way of doing things that our coaching staff was asking to do. They all did. They all led us. I'm proud to be their coach. And for the young guys, I told them they better get ready to get to work when they get back to senior. Well, Justin deserves to play, and Mackenzie deserves to play. They're both good players. They both look great in practice. Mackenzie's outplayed him in practice a little bit, and that's why we've stayed with him. I'll never criticize one of our position groups publicly, but it's tough right now to play quarterback. We have a couple guys hurt on the O-line. We're young on the O-line. When Mackenzie's in there, he's running for his life. Justin's bigger, better arm, and not quite as quick, and when he's in there, he's under pressure too. We got to get a lot better as a team, run blocking, up front and on the perimeter, and we got to get a lot better giving our quarterback time to set his feet in front. We did all right at times on offense. We're young, but the big thing we need an attitude. Defense had that attitude this year because they had a bunch of seniors that had it. Guys that like to compete, guys that are going to give everything they got and spend everything we got. We didn't have those type of leaders on offense. And, it's frustrating. I want to see when I get in a huddle to call the first play of the drive, I want to see guys with a glint in their eye and guys that are ready to go out and be physical and take the game. Defense has that look most of the time. Our offensive guys, some of them need to step up and make sure we have that kind of mentality on offense. We have a lot of growing up to do still as a program. I think it's unbelievable what these guys accomplished this year and what they got out of their team. But we're going to have to fix mistakes. We're going to have to get stronger. We're going to have to get more physical. We're going to have to play harder. We're going to have to come together even more. I think it's harder to go from 6-6 to 10-2 than it is to go from 0-12 to 6-6. So we have a lot of work in front of us. I think our players gave us absolutely everything they had, and I think this group got about everything they could out of themselves. We were close to winning a few more games this year. The guys gave us everything they had, but there's a lot of areas we got to keep improving. We got to improve the roster in a lot of areas. We got to improve our work ethic. We got to improve our attitude. We're going to go back to work in spring just like it was in winter, just like it was last January, and start this whole thing all over. Only we're starting ways up the mountain now. We're not at the bottom of the mountain. We're halfway up, and we'll go back to work just like it's day one last year.
So the part I liked most in his post-game press comments, which were relatively brief, was when he said that offense needs an attitude, and he needs to see people with an edge and people fired up like we had seen the defense flying around throughout the year. And as we know, UCF's defense loses a lot of people, but he gave a lot of playing time and a lot of reps, including those extra bowl practices, to offensive players that are going to have to raise their game. But he expects that they're going to raise their game. And we talked throughout the year with Kyle where the kind of adjustments that Mackenzie needed to make, and the quarterback coach, Verduzco, talked about this a couple of weeks ago, you can't make those sorts of adjustments during the season or you get in the quarterback's head. He needs time and reps.
We're not going to make those adjustments during the bowl practices. You were not going to. Now, there's been some talk. Like I said right before I played that clip, people are putting Scott Frost on the hot seat.
That's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
For what? Taking him to a bowl game?
Exactly.
Off an 0-12 year?
I don't understand it. I don't get it.
With the majority of those players being the ones that went 0-12?
Yes.
That he and his staff saw the potential in a Shaquem Griffin, elevating him to Defensive Player of the Year in the American after he'd languished in the locker room and on the bench?
Exactly. That George O'Leary would not give a chance to Shaquem at all.
I know ridiculous. Oregon has fallen on some hard times, but this Mackenzie Milton was being recruited by Oregon.
And let's see what let's see what happened between Oregon's heyday and Scott Frost coming to UCF. Oh, Scott Frost was the offensive coordinator for Oregon, calling the plays for Oregon. Now, yes, they have a different quality type of player in Oregon, and that's something that people need to understand as well that they may not understand. We do not get the same type of players that a Pac-12 team in Oregon gets. We don't have any 5 stars. We hardly have any 4 stars. So there's a bit of a difference there. They'd been running that offense for a long time. All their people coming in knew what they were getting into, all that stuff. Scott Frost is working with people that George O'Leary recruited. An
for a different style of offense.
An offensive line that George O'Leary failed to recruit for the last couple of years. Failed to recruit quality players, except maybe Hudanik. Maybe a couple other ones.
Which, by the way, was the big turning point on the offensive line this season. We talked about it the week it happened when Tyler got hurt.
He was, and I didn't believe that at first when you pointed that out, and I did not. I had a little bit of a blinder on to that because I didn't want to believe that one person made such a difference on that line, but he absolutely did. He did.
He's a good player.
And he's a great player, I think. We were excited about him. I remember talking to him when they recruited him, and I was excited because I watched his film and I saw what he did. And he, ran people over. I mean, just ran them over. So, not having him, Scott Frost in those comments, he said he wasn't going to call anybody out, but he called the offensive line out. He did it without saying it. And that's good. That's a good thing, people. It's good when your head coach doesn't want to call somebody out, is loyal to his players like he is to Milton. What were you? I mean,
so we're talking a great deal here about the line.
I'm sorry, I have to take a deep breath because I'm just something
little
something.
Meditating. Yeah. We're talking about the line. We're talking about quarterback play. We talked a little bit about the inability of the run game. I want to go back a couple of weeks, and it's a shame that Kyle can't join us this week, but we'll have him coming up on the Spectacular on January 8th, our live YouTube special where we recap the 2016 season. Remember what he was talking about? That UCF also needs to recruit better wide receivers that fit this offense. Our wide receivers, McKenzie didn't have a lot of time, nor did Justin when he was in, but our receivers weren't getting separation. I mean, McKenzie has a couple of seconds.
Another thing
he's not finding anybody that was getting open.
Right.
And then the line and everything collapses on him.
And when you run for 12 yards and you get into a shootout, which it doesn't work good for us, obviously. Shootouts don't work good for this offense. This offense is not designed to work in a shootout situation. This offense, when it works properly, when the proper pieces are there, this offense is made to just shock and awe. Shock and awe is what this offense is about. It's about fast guys, fast little running backs that go around the ends and just, you can't catch them. You can't get your hands on them. Offensive linemen that block down the field. Mm-hmm. That's why we see, even with this offense, we see a lot of ineligible receiver downfield, which is a lineman most of the time past the point where they're supposed to be. Because that's what type of, those guys need to get out there and do that in this offense. I'm kind of getting lost in my thoughts here because I am boiling.
I think you need more than 12 hours to recoup after this.
Anyway, you guys, Scott Frost is going to do amazing things here. It's not going to take 1 year. It could take 4 years. It really could. It could take 4 years of him getting the players in here that he wants to have in here, the players that he knows that he can mold and that can run this offense. Period.
But the expectations game has changed, and now off a 6-6 regular season, a bowl loss, UCF has a schedule that's favorable next year with 7 home games, no matter where that 7th one is played, whether it's at our stadium on campus or at the stadium downtown. 5 road games, 2 tough ones, it looks like Navy and Maryland. But what are the expectations now for that season? That's something I think we should talk about on the January 8th special.
Absolutely,
when we've got the round
we
table.
Can talk about it then.
We'll have Kyle with us. We're going to have Jeff Sharon from the Black and Gold Banneret. We're going to be doing that for an hour. Sunday night, January 8th, 7 o'clock Eastern on YouTube.
Live.
And we're going to talk about those things. What are the expectations?
Absolutely. And I promise it'll be better than last year. I'm ashamed of our production quality last year. It will be better.
Oh, on the YouTube special.
Yeah. It was horrible.
Well,
horrible. I dropped the ball big time. That was the first time we ever tried to do anything really like that. So
we try to do a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Well, if you don't try, you can't succeed. Period, right?
The words of wisdom.
Well, it's true. It's true.
Phegley.
And the other word of wisdom that I tell people all the time, this is the thing that I live by. I swear. This is it right here. If you don't hear anything else I say in this whole entire show, if you don't want to hear anything that I say, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
I've never heard that before.
That is absolute. No, I mean, I know. I've heard it a million times, but I live my life by that.
So the defense had
the defense.
two big pass plays against it.
Those were my most,
I'm moving along. Moving along from your thoughts there. The defense had two big plays against it, but the turnovers, the self-inflicted wounds, if you take those out, if you look at the stat sheet, Arkansas State didn't kill UCF.
No.
Arkansas State, 38 rushes for 29 yards.
Neither
205 passing yards.
Run the ball.
12 of 26 they were passing.
Right.
They had 234 yards.
Right.
So we made mistakes, critical mistakes.
Our mistakes cost us the game. Now, a lot of people also are raving mad about the special teams coach, which, number one, our special teams coach is not just the special teams coach. He's also another position group, which did pretty good this year. He's the linebackers coach. So if you want to throw him off the bus, I think that you should think differently about that. And also, besides this game, really, where did our special teams not do well? If you're out there and you're one of those guys that wants the special teams coach fired, look at the rest of the year, except for this week. Our special teams was pretty good. Blocked punts, blocked kicks, all kinds of stuff.
None of those things matter now. It's just
absolutely not
bowl game meltdown.
And I understand it's the last game you played, whether you won or lost, blah blah blah. But it's not. There's a big picture here, and we have to look at the big picture here at UCF.
And as a big picture, if you were watching this game in person, and we'll get to that in a moment, that there were less in attendance than expected, or watching on TV, boy, it was tedious, wasn't it?
It was
26
horrible.
Penalties between the two teams. 26. They had 15 penalties for 140 yards. UCF 11 for 82. Every other play, it felt like, was a yellow flag down, and a game that went 4 hours.
If you guys like me fired up, I'm fired up tonight. I got all kinds of stuff to say about the rest of the game as well. I don't know if y'all remember, about 2 years ago when we were doing this show, it was one of Trace's first shows, I think, back then when we went to the St. Petersburg Bowl, whatever the heck it was called then.
Was that the Bitcoin?
The Bitcoin Bowl.
Maybe?
And I was so upset because it was such a horrible place to watch a game.
Even for baseball. Even when you watch the Rays there.
So the environment was a lot better, obviously, at the Citrus Bowl. I had a decent seat. Not great seats.
What yard line were you on?
I was about, like the 10 or something like that. One of the things, and I know everybody likes to talk about this whole thing of selling alcohol at Bright House Network Stadium. I have to bring this up. This was my big thing with the game in St. Petersburg. There's a large amount of fans. I'm trying to choose my words wisely here. Not all of student age that can't handle their alcohol. And I was a proponent of selling alcohol at Bright House Network Stadium, but I am absolutely not now. After 2 bowl games in a stadium where they sell alcohol with absolute fools around me, making my experience horrible. The guy next to me falling asleep and then puking all over everybody. The guy in front of me standing and whipping his little pom-pom around with beer spilled on it and getting it in everybody's faces. And then just talking like just ridiculous stuff, like saying, drunk stuff. If that was my experience at UCF Bright House Network Stadium or whatever it's going to be called next year, I probably wouldn't go to home games. Luckily, I have good people that sit around me. And hey, I like to drink. I love to drink before football games. Yes. I absolutely love to drink. And there's been times where I couldn't even tell you what happened in the first quarter because I was drunk. I was having a great time. I understand that. But it gets to a point where it's not fun anymore for people that aren't as inebriated as the rest of you. What's the point of going to a football game if you're going to fall asleep and then puke on people?
Some people, not a lot of people.
For some reason, I was surrounded by them. It just happened to be, and I don't know, maybe I need to use more points the next time I get tickets or something. But it made it not fun for me and my family. And, we go to all of the games at Bright House Network Stadiums and never have this problem at all. But at the bowl games, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, I think I said to you last night, I'm never going to another bowl game unless I'm in a suite with people I picked to be around me. And that's. Well,
I'm sure you can buy those if you want to pony up enough money for that experience.
That's a little bit of an unrealistic expectation, but come on, people. At least respect who's around you, and it's just not fun when people are making it not fun for you. And it was even worse with the game going the way that it was. If we were winning, I probably wouldn't have cared as much. But we weren't winning. And if you were sitting there, and I was looking around the stadium, sometimes not really watching what was going on in the game and being like, man, the stadium's quite large. It is. And man, wouldn't it be cool if there were people up there in that second or that third level?
Even the second level.
The second level. Wouldn't it be cool if this place was packed? Wouldn't it be cool if Orlando would have came out to see their Knights play? If the Knights fans would have came out to see their Knights play? Wouldn't have this been awesome?
Announced attendance, 27,213.
Ridiculous. We have more people at Bright House Network Stadium, or whatever the hell they're going to call it. Excuse me, hell. I said it. We have more people come to those games. We had more people at the first game of the year, South Carolina State. We had more people at the home opener against an FCS team than we had at our bowl game in our hometown. That's crazy.
It is a little crazy. It was a de facto home game, and we got to get out of the prediction business because we're wrong on about everything we predict. We had the attendance
what is wrong with the cable?
You're all fired up. Oh my! If they had only won, how this would have been smooth sailing on this particular cast.
I think people like to hear me fired up, though. So I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of comments on this one, and I'm not just being fired up for your entertainment. I'm fired up.
Well, this question of attendance is one I posed after the game to longtime Knight and current executive director of the Cure Bowl, Alan Gooch. I asked his thoughts on the turnout. A bit less than Cure Bowl officials were hoping.
Cure Bowl number 2 doubled what we did last year. So we're now at $2.3 million to Breast Cancer Research Foundation. Dr. Annette Khalid has received $645,000 of that, and Dr. Khalid is right here in Central Florida at the UCF College of Medicine doing that research. So this is a Central Florida community event. Everybody needs to come out to. It doesn't matter who's playing in the game, because the real winner here is Dr. Khalid and her research. Cancer is not the death sentence it used to be. It still is a sentence. And so we're trying to solve that through a football game. And that's truly what this is all about. We were able to do it twice.
Growth in the game year to year, announced crowd 27-some thousand.
Yep.
Were you expecting more, especially with UCF in sort of a de facto home?
I was expecting that UCF, I thought we would at least get 30 or more. It was a hometown UCF Bowl opportunity. For fans that didn't ever have an opportunity to go to St. Pete or Fiesta Bowl, here was UCF in the hometown game. But, the fans that did come, I'm just happy for everybody that did come, is they got a great opportunity to see what the Cure Bowl is truly all about.
How do you grow the game year to year for Cure Bowl 3?
Well, it's always about matchups, so you never know sometimes what you're going to come and get there. So for us to truly grow, we have to have Central Florida as a whole embrace this game, come out and support it regardless of who's playing in it. Regardless of the matchup, we have to have people come out here and support the game.
I meant to ask you before when we interviewed you, wasn't this game initially supposed to be on UCF's campus at what has been known as Bright House Networks? Any thought about that in the future?
Oh, yeah, there's certainly, we have a 5-year agreement with the city, and the city certainly wants to have events to justify the $250 million that they spent to renovate the stadium. And as you can tell, it's a great spot to have a college football game. So they made us an offer that we just couldn't refuse. And when you're trying to raise money for cancer research, you got to go with that situation that gives you an opportunity to donate more to cancer research.
How did it feel to have to hand over that Cure Bowl trophy to Arkansas State?
It was tough, but I will tell you that Arkansas State was a class organization all the way. Their team and all their coaches showed up for the pep rally. Their team and all their coaches showed up for the charity event, and they really activated and enjoyed the bowl game. And so, that was great, and they were class all the way. They were a very class organization. But I certainly would have loved to have been able to see our alma mater in there. That would have been a cap on the whole week. That would have been a cap.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Well, I appreciate his candidness. Overall, I thought that the bowl was, was well run, and they did a good job. And of course, they're raising money. The cause is a great one. But I'll tell you what, if they can't draw higher than that with UCF in that game, and there's no expectation that UCF will be in that game again next year, I don't know how they grow that bowl without more community support. Because, that the turnout just wasn't what they thought it would be with the hometown team in it.
I don't know who you would put in that bowl to draw more. Maybe a better game or something. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Which American school in that game? Memphis would have. As it was, the majority of that crowd was UCF. Arkansas State seemed to be about 2,000 people.
And I still think, though, I don't know if UCF dropped the ball on the whole thing as well. I mean, not promoting it, great. But you saw attendance dropping all through the season at Bright House Network Stadium or whatever you're going to call it. That's how I'm going to refer to it from now on.
You could get the naming rights for that.
Yeah, it's cool. We could do that. Knightline Stadium. That'd be awesome.
Trying to get Knightline Stadium.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why people didn't come out. I don't know why you wouldn't if you're a Knight fan. And I know that it right before Christmas, all that stuff, but I don't know. I think probably I'd like to see what the attendance was at that St. Petersburg Bowl a couple of years ago against North Carolina State.
It was about 27,000.
Well,
yeah, it wasn't much bigger than that.
And that was all the way across over there. There were probably more UCF fans there than there were here.
Yeah. We're going to beat this up more in terms of the season recap. Again, we mentioned the January 8th YouTube special because we're taking a couple of weeks off for the holidays, as no doubt a lot of folks are, and taking a break from
We need to, trust me.
UCF.
I need a break after this.
I would ask our listeners, though, send us questions on social media, our email, go to the website. What do you want us to talk about in that? What questions do you want us to banter about with Kyle Israel and Jeff Sharon of Black and Gold Banneret? And send us your ideas for topics that we're going to talk about during that hour-long live special.
There is a contact us there on the website, a form that you can fill out, and that'll get us questions, or it's Trace at UCF Knightline Podcast and Andrew at UCF Knightline Podcast.
Or on Twitter, you monitor that.
Yeah, Twitter, Facebook. Please send us some questions because that would then we could talk about what you want us to talk about. And
I'm curious as to what people who listen want to know more about during that hour long. And, speaking of YouTube, don't forget, we're reacting to news between weekly Nightlines, too. Now it's called Knightline Now. Ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of the latest. That's Knightline Now. Now, just ahead, back to the winning ways for men's basketball on Sunday. We're going to have that. And, it's not too late to sign up for the East Coast Paddle Giveaway. Here's Tim to explain.
Hello, Knight Nation. This is Tim Baker with East Coast Paddle, owner, operator, and fellow UCF alum. East Coast Paddle is located in Orlando's favorite beach town of New Smyrna Beach. East Coast Paddle is rated by TripAdvisor as the #1 rated water tour activity in New Smyrna. We are most known for our boat-assisted paddleboard eco tours. This is a 2-hour dock-to-dock experience like none other on the island. You'll paddle with manatees, dolphins, and have a chance to see many of the 4,000 species that inhabit our lagoon system. So take professional pictures throughout the tour that are sent directly to your email at no additional charge. This is not all we have to offer. Traditional paddleboard rentals delivered to your location, paddle fit classes, and several fishing options. Please reach out to us at 386-402-8585 or visit us at our website, eastcoastpaddle.com, or follow us on Facebook at East Coast Paddle or Instagram at EastCPSUP.
All right, so there's only a few more weeks, really, 2 weeks to sign up for this thing with that Tim's giving away. It is a paddleboard tour for two, and it's $110 value, and it's beautiful out there in New Smyrna on the Intercoastal. with manatees and all kinds of stuff.
You need to get out
Dolphins.
there. You need to decompress.
I do. I need to.
That would be a good thing for you and
I
Tina
need a
to do.
vacation.
You should go out there and do that. You can have my spot. You said you and I were going to go. You take her.
Well, we're going to.
Take her.
We'll go at some point. Yeah. But anyway, go to our website, ucfnightlinepodcast.com. On the left-hand side, there is a contest entry button. And click that, sign up, and you will be entered to win this, and we're going to give it away on the January 8th Spectacular.
How are we going to do that? Do we know how we're going to do that? Put them all in a fishbowl, draw a name out?
Something like that, yeah. Maybe we can find a little UCF bowl or something. We can.
You got a couple of weeks to figure that out.
Yeah, so we'll pick the winner, and you will be a winner.
You'll be a winner. Speaking of winning,
never won anything else.
Men's basketball back in the win column Sunday. Knights beat Miami of Ohio 80-73 in overtime at CFE Arena. What a tense game that was. Knights now 8-3. Taco Fall, the big man on campus during this one, double-double, 31 points, 10 boards. UCF, of course, rebounds after rare 2 midweek losses, home to Penn, then on the road to George Washington. It has really become a thing of next man up for the Knights. They're still feeling a loss of point guard B.J. Taylor. He's recovering from a thumb injury. Saw it wrapped up today when I was out at the game. I don't know when we're going to see him back. Coach Dawkins didn't really give a timetable in the post-game press conference, so they're hoping he'll be back for conference play, which is just around the corner. They only have one more game in non-con play, and then conference play begins with a road game. So
I tell you, I mean, he's doing a lot with a little. Right
yes,
there.
he is.
I mean, he is doing a lot with a little, and what a great job that he's doing. And I know that, they've had a couple minor setbacks in the last...
But then rebound.
But rebound, basketball. Basketball rebounded. Here's the deal, though. Taco Fall, 31 points.
Yeah, he was...
When was the last time any Knight scored 31
Where is the
points?
intern?
I know.
It's a holiday break.
Yeah. I just that's interesting to me, and I thought that maybe they would have it on the notes here.
They don't have it on the notes?
Let me see.
They usually do a good job with those.
Looking and talking, that's never good.
Last time there were 31 points. Let's first hear, though, from players Taco Fall and Tank Effiani.
I mean, I felt great. The guys were feeding me the ball. We were playing together. We were playing good basketball. Sometimes we didn't lock up on defense. They came back. We're a big in the beginning. They came back. Then we just had to stay composed on defense. But offensively, I think overall I was very happy.
Any team that loses their true point guard, it's going to be tough, to try to get in the flow of our offense. And I had that floor general out there, but we just stay together. We continue to just get in our huddles on the floor, know we're in. We didn't defend as well as we wanted to this game. I mean, we gave up 73 points, but, we just try to stay together as much as possible and not put the pressure on, like, AJ to have to bring the ball up or just Matt. Like, we just try to do it by committee. I think in our 2 losses, we got away from ball movement, and we were seeing that on film, and we started to just go our own ways individually, and we weren't moving the ball as well, so coming into this game, we didn't defend as well as we wanted to, but we wanted to continue to defend and move the basketball and take advantage of Taco down low with the size matchup for sure.
All right, I couldn't find the last time that whoever scored, 30 points or whatever, but Taco Fall averages like 15.5 a game. He doubled that, obviously, today, which is, I'm impressed. I mean, 31 points in college, I think, is impressive. And he is impressing people on the national, basketball
stage
by his national leading field goal percentage of 81.6. That's like, I mean, come on. It's
11
Taco.
of 12 Sunday. 11
it's
of 12
Taco.
shooting.
Taco, he has gotten so much better. I mean, over the year, from last year, remember, half the time he would hold on to the ball and look like he didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, he's gotten a whole lot better.
I mean, Coach Dawkins or somebody has lit a fire, and it is absolutely awesome.
Now, early on in the season, he was struggling shooting free throws. On Sunday, he was 9 of 12, so he's increased his average there. So
he's obviously working hard.
Yeah, he talked about that. That was one of his
yeah.
sound bites where he talked about that he's really spending a lot of time in practice, and I love to
I'm
hear
not
that.
sure that I actually played that one, but that one was in there.
But I
know,
love to hear that he said that he's been spending a lot of time practicing his free throws.
Yeah,
so I love hearing that from him.
There were obviously clips that we got that I didn't put in there just because I picked the best ones, but yeah, I remember him saying something about that. We also have some sound from Johnny Dawkins and what he had to say about this victory. And
it's a win we had to earn. I mean, I thought, going into overtime with this group, having to bounce back off of back-to-back losses, I think our guys showed a lot of character. I mean, it was a game where it could have gone either way, before overtime. And I give their team a lot of credit. I thought they did a great job, especially when we got leads of fighting back and putting themselves in position. They even took the lead in the second half. And so just really proud of our guys because, like I said, after coming off two losses like this, I thought our guys did respond and was able to get a hard-fought victory. I thought Trylko was terrific. I mean, he was terrific. I mean, every facet. I thought defensively he had a presence. Offensively, he really anchored us as well. And so he's just getting better. I mean, he's getting better right before all of our eyes. I think you can see that. But today was the best part about it was our flow. I thought when the ball went into him, we did a better job of moving. When we threw it inside, I thought he did a great job of finding, shooters, and relocating them when they doubled it. And when he didn't double, he made the right reads and he finished. It was one of his best performances, I think, offensively this year for us. The adversity we're facing right now will lead to us becoming a better team, after the new year. Because we've had to do it with AJ, as we mentioned before. We're doing it with BJ right now. And like I said, we've played, 4 games in the last 9 days. So it's been very little time for us to really catch our breath and practice. We had finals. Now, all of that combined, it's been a tough stretch for our group. And it doesn't end now. I mean, we still have a game on Wednesday, So, we need to just be able to use this as an opportunity to get better. And I think we are. Our guys are understanding that, the areas that we need to improve in, we've identified. And when we are at full strength, I think everybody will be a little more confident. That's what I'm hopeful for. That everybody will be a little more confident that they've been in these situations. Chad has been in the situation where he has to make big free throws. Or Nate, our point guard, has been in situations, because he's had to, close the game out where BJ is typically in that position. Whether AJ, who's played multiple positions, whether he's on the ball or off the ball, I think he's growing because he's our most versatile player. But now we talk about his versatility. He's actually having to utilize it. He's playing everywhere for us. And even Matt played point guard for us. So it's all these guys will be better from this experience as long as we don't get too beat down and understanding that this is it's a long season. We're still in the early parts of it, and we just have to keep getting better.
Now, what I was curious about in postgame and that I asked Coach Dawkins is at that point, Taco had 31 points, 10 rebounds. He had 4 fouls, but right towards the end of overtime, he took Taco out. So when we got to postgame press conference, I was kind of curious as to why. Not critical of it, but kind of want to understand his strategy and what he was thinking there, and he was good enough to answer that.
The strategy for us, we have to calculate, okay, are they going to play, hack or shack, or are they going to, play the game out? Chad's like 70+% free throw shooter, one of our best free throw shooters on our team. And also the fact that they were guarding in a way where, we were guarding in a way where they put all shooters out there on the floor. And so they put, all of a sudden their 5-man is like 6'6", 6'7", but he can shoot threes. And so with that, matchups become a little more difficult for us. So we had to make a calculated, risk. We said, we'll put a guy out there like Chad who can go out there and guard on the perimeter, and we'll make sure that way we don't give up any easy open looks. And so we opted for that. But I've done it the other way in earlier games this year where we've still just, played percentages. And so it just depends on, my gut. And we wanted to go with Chad at the end because he's a really good free throw shooter, but also he could have guarded a lot of the actions they had, and I thought he did that.
I find that interesting because he was talking about a perimeter guy versus Taco being, the inside guy. And the other thing that I really like about Dawkins, he talks about, that was my gut feeling. Mm-hmm. He's got a heck of a pedigree as far as where he's come from as a player, people that he's coached with, places that he has coached, places that he played in the NBA and in Duke. So I'm happy. I'm very, very happy with him, and I think he's doing an absolutely excellent job.
And, of course, he was referencing Chad Brown, who came up big with the free throws. And I loved his answer. I agree with you. And when he spoke about gut there and his coaching decision, I like getting into those X's and O's and hearing how it works in his mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, he knows what he's doing, and I think it's a big difference than what we've had previously with our previous coach. Not that he didn't know what he was doing, but it's just these players that are the same, some of the same players, especially Taco. I mean, look what he has done with Taco. And there may be other people involved in that. Maybe there's another guy that took Taco really under his wing and, showed him the things that he needed to do. But somebody made a miraculous difference with Taco.
That guy would have to be much taller than to take Taco under his wing.
Well, oh boy.
Speaking of success, women's basketball. They just keep winning. Now 9-2, 74-54 win on the road at Georgia Southern. How about senior guard Zakira Lewis, now numero uno in three-pointers in UCF history with 215. That eclipsed Francine Houston, who set the mark from 2004 to 2007. And again, as we talked about last week, UCF was 7-23 last year, and they've now got their 9th win as they get ready to head into conference play coming up soon as well. So basketball rolling along. You got two programs that now have 17 wins, 5 losses, and that was not the case last year.
Speaking of programs, and I hate to really talk about this stuff ahead of time before it actually happens, but we have a guy coming in the next couple weeks that is going to be our basketball insider, kind of like what Kyle does for football.
We've got a guy.
We got a guy. I can't tell you who it is until the first time he actually appears, but I'm working on it. I heard what you guys said on the comments. I listened, and I've got somebody coming, so it's going to be good, too. He is a former UCF basketball player. That's all I will say.
All right, better deliver.
I'm gonna.
Okay, good deal. All right, not to ruin your good mood, inflated now by the success of the basketball programs, but taking a look around the American 0-2 on the first day of bowl action. Again, I know nothing about predicting. I thought Houston would win. San Diego State cruised past Houston 34-10 in the Las Vegas Bowl. Coming up, the American and the bowls this week. Central Michigan against Tulsa. I think Tulsa will win. I guess that means Central Michigan will. That's the Miami Beach Bowl on December 19th. Memphis against Western Kentucky in the Boca Raton Bowl, December 20th. Louisiana Tech and Navy battle on December 23 in the Armed Forces Bowl.
I'm picking Western Kentucky.
He's going to go the opposite of everything. And it looks like all the coaching hubbub is finally over now. Temple's got their person. If you saw that this week, the Florida defensive coordinator, Jeff Collins, is now head coach at Temple. So, and he can obviously recruit, right, in the state of Florida and see how many Florida kids he steals to Philadelphia.
Speaking of coaches in Central Florida, did you hear that they fired Gus Bradley up in Jacksonville?
News.
That's kind of unfortunate.
14-48, though.
I know. I liked the guy, though. I really
thought he would
liked
have
him.
more success there. I really did.
I do. Yeah, he needs to go back and be a defensive coordinator someplace where
he'll get a job. He's young.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he's young.
Do we know how Blake did? Did you see any of that stuff?
Yeah, he didn't do much. 12 of 28.
They lost by 1 point. So
well, they had a lead too, and they let the lead squander. 12 of 28, 92 yards, a late pick. Jags blew the lead. They lose 21-20 Houston. They now fall to 2-12. And I wonder when they fired Gus. Did they fire him in Houston? On the plane?
Probably on
when
the plane.
When they landed in Jacksonville?
Probably on the plane.
And Kamar Aiken with a touchdown reception in Baltimore's 27-26 win over Philadelphia. A couple of nights in the NFL. What's happening this week? Taking a look at your Knightline planner. It's just basketball now. It's just going to be basketball really for a while. But women's hoops return home Tuesday, December 20th, 2 o'clock. It must be the holidays. 2 o'clock against Omaha. Men are home a day later. Wednesday, December 21. First tip with Bethune-Cookman, 7 o'clock, both games at CFE Arena.
And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports. Men's golfer Kyle Wilshire earned qualification for the Web.com Tour, which begins in January. Wilshire joins former UCF teammate Greg Eason, who has played 2 seasons on this tour.
Softball releases its 2017 schedule. It's not too far away now. No easy slate. UCF faces 14 schools from the 2016 NCAA tournament field. That includes 4 that advanced to the Women's College World Series. That is a tough schedule. UCF hosts 28 games at the UCF Softball Complex, and that includes the February 10th opener with Florida A&M not too far away.
Not at all. And congratulations to UCF grads. More than 5,000 new alums graduated over the weekend. All told, more than 302,000 people have graduated from UCF since its inception in 1968.
Including me. I'm one of those 302,000.
302,000, and we can't get 30,000 in a bowl game in our hometown. I mean, if the 5,000 people that graduated would have come, it would have helped.
They were otherwise occupied.
Yeah, they
Saturday
were
with parties and such.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, we're going to take a couple of weeks off for the holidays.
Thank goodness. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is a lot of work for us. It was a crazy week this last week.
You're not kidding.
You did a great job, Trace.
I ran out to that Cure Bowl press conference and sent you some sound back from that. And
you did a great job.
Running around town.
And we were, trying to do some different stuff than we normally do. And since the bowl was here, it was a perfect opportunity. I wish we could have done more, of course, but, I
think we did pretty good with Cure Bowl coverage.
We did pretty good.
We had some insight on Arkansas State, some quotes there from the coach and players.
That guy sounded just like Bill Clinton. It's crazy.
That's funny. So we're going to be off Christmas Day. We're going to be off New Year's, and then we come back January 8th with the YouTube special. Send us your questions. Let us know what you want us to talk about with Kyle and Jeff.
Thanks for listening. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trace Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
UCF, charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and gold, charge right through the line. Victory is our cry. B-S-E-T-O-R-Y. Tonight our nights will shine. UCF, Knights.